as he tries to take his third expansion right now. He's just going to have to pop back and forth between his third and his natural expansion to cover the ground, whereas Jinro, as you can see, he can just easily siege up his tanks right between here and nothing that Slayer's Boxer can do to get by this factory. If Boxer doesn't get an SCV on this ASAP, it's going to burn down. There we go. That SCV is going to come and save the day for Boxer, so clutch save by that SCV. Going to save this factory from utter destruction. And look at this, Jinro is just sort of positioning around the map. He doesn't really want to also engage unsieged into Boxer because these tanks are just so vulnerable to stimmed Marauders, which Boxer has a lot. There we go, stim going in because seeing the massive army of Jinro with the Vikings. Siege tanks going up, and Boxer knows he doesn't want to engage, so he pulls out before losing too much. This one Hellion venturing out a little bit too far, gonna get shot down. And now we're going to see a little bit of a standoff between these two players. However, Jinro has got a nice forward position on Boxer, and he's slowly moving up to this third base. It's going to be a very dangerous position from Boxer. He needs some way to gain or to stabilize his map control. He's got this roaming army, but he doesn't have the siege tanks. He doesn't even have a factory on the ground. No, he doesn't. So he's going all out baller barracks mass medevac. This is going to be ridiculous. We might even be seeing a base trade here as Boxer moves into the planetary fortress of Liquid Jinro. We're going to see how well this thing can hold off, and if Jinro decides to push and do a base trade or come back and save. Oh man, these Marauders making such short work of this planetary fortress. It's going to fall in no time. Looks like Jinro is going to try to move into Slayer's Boxer here, but as you can see, his army is just so immobile, and he can't unsiege all of them at once in fear of getting flanked from the back by this massive army or any possible reinforcements from Slayer's Boxer. So he's got to move one step at a time. That's why this planetary fortress is still up, and there's only 3 siege tanks sieging at it. Jinro does not want to give up this nice position he has with the siege tanks to try to make this planetary fortress fall any faster. Looks like Boxer has finished off the third base of Jinro, and he's going to come back. We might be seeing some medevac drops right on top of these siege tanks. That would be a great tactical maneuver from Slayer's Boxer here, and definitely the smart way to engage this massive siege tank line as more tanks come in and reinforce this one Viking. If it takes down this medevac, it would be huge. There we go. Some Marauder bombs going down in the middle of the tanks. Boxer going to engage below the ramp. His army getting clumped up here and taking a lot of damage, as you can see. So many blue corpses on the ground. However, Boxer is still holding out strong with this planetary fortress. His army is a little bit more thinned out now, but he should be feeling okay. And if Boxer can hold this, he is actually going to be in a great position going into this game. He's been in a disadvantage the entire game. However, we saw that third base from Jinro just fall so fast, the Stim Marauders from Boxer. And he's managed to hold this base off nicely by just epically repairing it with his SCVs. However, he's got to get more SCVs on that quick. He doesn't want to have it fall. And Jinro's troops are just so busy trying to take out this planetary fortress. He's not going to realize that his main base could very well be under assault here by Boxer's troops as he's getting himself in a nice position. However, we got some more siege tanks in the back. Wow, just a ton of siege tanks from Liquid Jinro. Boxer's not going to be able to engage this front at all. Boxer's either going to be looking to go after these destructible rocks or going for a flank. Jinro looks like he is going to take the prior of those two choices. Going to break those rocks. Might even just walk right up in the middle of Jinro's base. There's one cloaked Banshee here just picking away at everything, but one scan's going to take care of that, no problem. Man, this tank line from Jinro is just everywhere, going to cover his grounds in his main base. However, this mobile troop from Boxer is going to easily be able to circumnavigate these tanks and go right at the meat of Jinro's base, taking out these buildings. Boxer's got to be careful. He doesn't want to move right into these tanks because his troops are quite a bit stimmed, and he could easily get taken out here as he picks off one barracks and one missile turret here in the top and gonna move right out. He's in a precarious position right now because if Jinro unsiege these tanks and unsiege these tanks, he could easily just completely sandwich Boxer's army in the middle of Blistering Sands, and Boxer is gonna have no answer to this except for just run right up in his medevacs and try to run away. And more Marauders reinforcing. This is a very interesting position from these two players. They're sort of just in the middle of each Boxer, at least in the middle of Jinro. Boxer's gonna move right past these bushes right there and gonna pick off 3 tanks. Very well done by Boxer, not losing too many. I think only one Marauder fell in that one battle 1 Marauder for 3 tanks. That's definitely a great trade for Slayer's Boxer. And it looks like in the meantime, Jinro has managed to take out this Planetary Fortress finally, and going to get his own Planetary Fortress here in the top position. So very interesting expansions coming in from Jinro. However, he does need desperately this 3rd base. However, with it being there and with Boxer's just nice troop placement, Jinro is not going to be able to transfer any SCVs to this 3rd base at all. And Boxer doing some nice harassment with these Banshees and Vikings. And if he can take out these 4 Marines, which he definitely can, these tanks are going to be so vulnerable. Oh no, Jinro's tanks are just going to get screwed by just a couple of Banshees, and he can't even move them out because Boxer is just blocking the path of retreat. Tactical mastermind from Boxer, positioning at least from Boxer right here. He's just blocking the retreat route for Jinro. Jinro's not going to be able to move his tanks back at all. He's just going to try to do what he can with these remaining base tanks. Uh-oh, Boxer's SCVs are so exposed. But the pathing for the AI is going to move them out of place for the time being. But yeah, Jinro's troops are just stuck between these Banshees and these Marauders, as Boxer once again going to take right at this Planetary Fortress, and with no SCVs surrounding it, we're going to see that guy fall in less than 3 seconds, and Tank's going to get cleaned up. Going to do a little bit of last minute denial of this Planetary Fortress before they get completely wiped out by these 4 Banshees. As we see, Boxer going to transfer SCVs to this gold mineral expansion again, and going to try to mine that. And we can see now Jinro is just starving for the minerals. He doesn't have his 3rd base. He tried to take a very, very risky 3rd base here, and looks like he's going to be trying that again by floating his main command center. This is going to be it. He's got 16 tanks to his name with +2 weapons upgrades, so this is ridiculous. So if any army is going to get him back into this game, it's this army right here. You got 3 pages worth of just units. He's got the SCVs, he's got the Marines, he's got the Thor even, he's got tons of tanks like I mentioned before, and Boxer's just troop is just really light. But if he can catch Jinro unsieged, he's going to have a chance to engage this army. However, Jinro is smartly sieging up one at a time, gonna usher Slayer's Boxer away from this position once again as Jinro takes his much needed 3rd expansion. Both players just dancing around each other right now. Terran versus Terran is all about positioning. One wrong step in the wrong direction, especially for Boxer, could cost him the entire army, and this could be that wrong step. He's moving. Oh no, he's just, oh my gosh, that's what I was talking about. One wrong step and bam, half your entire army is going to be gone, like we see there. And look at this, just barely any troops left from Slayer's Boxer, and going to pick off this 1 Thor from Jinro though, so that's going to help a lot. It's at least save his medevac army. I gotta say, Slayer's Boxer's army is very, very light at this point. He's only got maybe 1 page full of medic Marines, and not counting the medevacs. And what are these units doing? Wow, some nice micro there from Boxer, staying just barely out of the range of those Marines. Gonna force the unsiege from Liquid Jinro as he moves into his 3rd base. We're gonna try to defend that. However, Boxer does not want to lose these Banshees, however, because those Banshees are gonna be the X factor in engaging those tanks. But he doesn't want to lose them to the Marines, obviously. And once again, Boxer is going to cut off reinforcements to Jinro's 3rd base and move into the main base of Jinro. However, this time, there's no massive siege line in his natural expansion that Jinro can easily pull to defend this. So he's going to have to pull all his troops from his 3rd base, as we're seeing right now, to try to defend his main base, which is just getting mopped up by Slayer's Boxer. Slayer's mop right here, mopping up, cleaning up the main base of Jinro. Very fast, I have to say, and he's got an easy escape with those medevacs, so Jinro is not even going to be able to save his main base. And this is ridiculous as we see all the production facilities from our red Terran player Liquid Jinro just falling in just a smattering of seconds. And we're going to see Boxer pick off this army, and I'm probably going to get away with this medevac. He's got to get those guys away really quick though, or he can get intercepted by the Marines. He's not even going to use those medics. He's going to engage right now, and going to engage while the tanks are unsieged. But nice point defense drone, going to save that. Box is going to run right down. He's going to mop up the natural expansion possibly. Oh, catching these tanks unsieged. This is a massive loss for Liquid Jinro because he has no production facilities left in this game. Look at this. Main base is non-existent now. He's no factories out on the field. Losing that many tanks was a huge loss from Jinro. And he's not going to be able to reinforce his army at all. He's going to have to win it with this, what he has now. And he looks like he's going to lose it because his third expansion is now under assault from Slayer's Boxer. And we saw within probably a minute's time, Boxer wiped out the main base, wiped out the natural expansion, and now wiped out the third expansion. The Jinro is just doing everything he can, trying to get position on top of this cliff to try to assault Slayer's Boxer here. But Slayer's Boxer is just going to move right out of this siege range of those tanks and going to sneak around the side. Third base once again under assault, but doesn't really matter. He can lose this. I don't think he's going to mind that much because there is not a lot of minerals left. He's gotten the most out of this base, and he's gotten another base down here. And even this Liquid Jinro's gold mineral expansion to work off of. This is turning out to be an epic Terran versus Terran. And Boxer going to go once again, probably going to clean up this orbital command center and get right out of there. Jinro going to try to get that away. I think he's going to be able to because there's not a lot of things that can shoot up for Boxer, quite frankly. But yeah, Jinro is just going to have no answer to this. Like, having so many tanks, but Boxer just made Jinro unsiege and defend his main base, which is exactly what you need to do. You don't want to engage the tanks. You want the tanks to unsiege and try to engage you instead. That way you can siege right up and pick them off like we saw Boxer do in the last battle. We're going to see this Orbit Command Center fall right about now. Boom, and the pieces go to the bottom of Blistering Sands, and Jinro is left holding out with this one base here in the top position. We're going to see how long he can hold out. I don't think there's a way for him back into this game unless we're going to see some miracle play. But he's fought a very well game against the Terran Emperor of StarCraft 1. Have yet to establish that title in StarCraft 2 so far. Got tons of supply depots going down for Jinro because, as we can see, he's massively supply capped, 66 to about 43 at this point because of just his army count. He doesn't have enough supply to make any more SCVs at this point. He's got a nice position, especially with this Zelnaga tower. His tanks are easily going to be able to defend this expansion. However, just the longer this goes, the more Boxer is going to pull ahead because he's mining off of two fresh bases now. Jinro going to try to do a little bit of engagement. However, Boxer's going to get a nice little concave on Jinro's troops. However, Jinro's got a nice position. However, just Boxer's got way too much, even landing his Vikings, and gonna call the GG from Liquid Jinro being called out. What an amazing game between these two guys, played on the Korean ladder. This was a public game and not in a tournament, unfortunately, but however, nonetheless.